So the idea for my project was, what steps can you take to reach the fastest speed on a bike? And so the reason why I want to do the project is because I cycle often outside of school, and I'm part of a club, and I do it a lot, and I thought it would benefit me if I sort of researched and tested the question, and yeah, I was wondering what things I could do to improve my cycling and improve overall speed. And I knew obvious things, like, well, if you have a lighter bike, then surely you'll go faster, but I wanted to test them in different conditions so that you could sort of see what would be the best thing for that type of day or something like that. And the initial idea was I'd think of a few factors, and then I'd go out and test them on my bike, and then I'd collect the results and see which one's the fastest. And at first I was a bit confused with what factors to test, because some of them weren't really reasonable and they were a bit confusing, but then I eventually got a few that made sense and that I was able to do. So I did a few experiments, and I sort of split it in two. So on the first one I'm on a racing bike, and on the second one I'm on a mountain bike, and in each one I'm testing different factors, and the factors were the types of clothes that you wear, the type of bike you use, and if you drink water before or after. And I went out and tested each factor on the same stretch of road, so it wasn't different for each one, and then I recorded the results afterwards. There are a few pictures of me cycling. So there's an idea of that is the heavier, sort of bulkier clothes, but there's a lighter bike, and on that one lighter clothes but heavier bike, so there's contrast in each one, and that's sort of what the main thing I was testing. In these pictures you can't really see, but it was very cold and it was raining on that day, so that sort of made me realise what you actually need to wear on certain types of days, because I found that the fastest time wasn't the one that I thought it would be, the one where I was wearing the lightest clothes and I had the lightest bike and I had a drink. It was actually the one where I was wearing heavier clothes, but they were warmer clothes, and I was on the lighter bike, and it's because I was out cycling on a cold day, and it was raining, so because I was warmer whilst cycling, I had a higher body temperature, and I was sort of more willing to go faster because I was more comfortable doing it.
It's
warmer.
If it's pouring rain,
Yeah.
It's an incentive to get home, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think that's what I found, that when you're going to go out cycling, you don't just say, well, I need to go fast, so I'll just put on the fastest clothes and the fastest bike, and then that will make you go faster, because you've got to think about the weather conditions as well, and I didn't really think about that before doing these experiments.
But you did all those on the same day in the same weather conditions.
Yeah. And yeah, so this is what I learned. It's just, you've got to not only think about the types of clothes you wear and the type of bike you use, you've got to think about the weather conditions, and for example, if it's cold and raining, you don't want to wear thin clothes because you'll be cold and you won't go fast, but then you want to wear thicker clothes and you need to go faster. Just to repeat that, basically. Oh, and also I found, and this is just when I was doing research, it's you should drink before you go cycling, but you don't want to drink too much, because if you drink a lot and then do exercise straight away, you will feel ill. So you just take a sip of water, and that'll keep you going, and then you go faster, then you stop, and you take more, but don't drink it all at once because you'll feel ill.
Is that a recognised fact? Has that been proven before by other experiments?
Yeah.
Did you try that one out, drinking before and not drinking before?
Yeah, I did, and I did go faster than the ones where I drank water, yeah. But I didn't obviously try drinking loads of water before, because I didn't want to be ill. I just sort of had heard that before, and then had been told that. And
so you accepted that as a given fact?
Yeah, so I wasn't
you weren't testing that one out. Did you test out the food one?
No, I didn't do food in the end, because I thought it'd be too hard to, if you eat food before, because I did all of these tests in roughly the same time, and so if you eat food before one and then come
You'd
back,
have to eat food before, it wouldn't work, would it?
And then you probably still have the energy from that food from the first one, so I didn't think testing it without food, and then because then I'd have to do it on another day, but I didn't have
Could
time
take
to
months,
do that.
couldn't
Yeah,
it?
so
And then you'd have to say, well, was it because she had the wrong type of food? And
Yeah, so I
and then the
just thought-
factors just multiply out of
yeah.
control, don't
But
they?
I sort of common sense. If you have a snack, but it's high energy, and if you eat that beforehand, then you will probably go faster because you've got energy, and yeah, you'll go faster. But I didn't get to test that.
But as you get bigger and stronger as well, you'll go faster.
Yeah, it's all those sorts of things.
And the more you cycle.
Yeah, and I knew these sorts of things, but I just wanted to see the different ways they sort of the factors in the weather conditions and that sort of thing.
So do you reckon you need to have a light bike and a heavy bike?
Well,
Or do you
I
think
don't
the light bike was the better
I think
option?
the light bike will affect speed, yeah, because that's just a lighter bike, meaning you're not heavier and you'll go faster. But I think if you're on a track, like a dirt track, you want to have a heavier bike with thicker wheels, because if you have a thinner bike, it'll be really uncomfortable, and two, you could fall over, or because there's big rocks and the tyres are thin, so you won't be able to manoeuvre over them as easily, so you could fall over. So I think for that you should have a heavier bike, but if you're just aiming to go fast and that's the only priority, then a lighter bike would be better, yeah.
And appropriate clothing to appropriate conditions?
Yeah.
Do you think it would be a good idea to test this out on more subjects?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because when I did these, I didn't have much time to do many other experiments. But then I realised, well, I've still got more time to finish the project, so I think it would be helpful to test it on different people, and maybe a few on a different day maybe, because if you test it on a sunnier day and see the difference, then I think that would be good as well. But I think testing it on other people would be good, because I may cycle faster than someone, and that could change the results. So I think that would be good, and I may do that later on.
So that's if you did the project again. That's one of the things you might do.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you might do differently? Are we happy?
I think maybe I'd could test different distances, because it's more mental. But if you cycle really fast going one way for a longer distance, and then you won't be as fast coming back because you'll be more tired, and then if you cycle fast for short distances, and I think maybe distance could just be another thing that you could test.
Did you have a question?
Yeah. So you were saying a heavier bike slows you down, but for long distances, the heavier bike would have more momentum. So if you're going downhill, you wouldn't have to pedal as fast to get the same speed as if you were on a lighter bike.
Oh,
The momentum will bring you forward.
Yeah, that's true.
So you were testing on short distances then?
I was testing a rather short distance, and it was flat as well.
Okay.
So there were speed bumps, but it's not really a downhill. But so it was flat. So but yeah, that's a good point.
If you were to do it again, that's one of the things you'd test on that.
Yeah, maybe
hill.
downhill and uphill rather than just straight. That's a good point.
Do you feel you learned quite a lot doing this?
I learned more than I thought I would, because at first I thought, well, it's pretty obvious, and I'll go out and I'll test it, and it'll be exactly what I thought. But it wasn't, and I definitely did learn something, and it is beneficial for me because I can go and use that.
And you can apply what you've learned to so many other situations.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do.
Did you find anything contradicted what you found out from research? Or did it all agree with research, or did anything surprise you?
Mostly agree with research. It was all saying similar sorts of things. If you just type in how to go fast on a bike, you will most likely get wear light clothes and use a fast bike, because that's the obvious sort of answer, but you don't really get different conditions when you search that. So I think I learned more than what I researched, which was good.
That is good. Yeah. I like that.
Any more questions?
When you mean by heavy clothes, do you mean like tracksuits?
Yeah, sort of tracksuits, like baggy, because you're not as streamlined if you're wearing baggy clothes, and you're big, and you're also heavier as well, because if you're wearing thicker clothes, like I was in the picture, and because it's baggier as well, you're not as streamlined, so you'll have more wind against you, and you won't go as fast.
What were you using for the light clothes? Do you mean like skins?
Yeah, Proper cycling clothes.
Lycra.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, brilliant. Well
Thank
done.
you very much.
It's-
Round of applause.